because I predict these things.
Rodolfo Bellato takes on Paul Craig this Saturday at UFC Vegas 106. And this is a good fight between these two guys, both looking to get back in the winning column. Paul Craig on kind of a skid right now, and Bellato coming off of a majority draw against Jimmy Crute in his last outing. So Bellato just kind of getting started in his UFC career, and Paul Craig kind of coming to the end of it from what it looks like. So curious to see how this one works out, how Bellato performs against a veteran like Craig. So Rodolfo Bellato, he's 29, 6'3", with a 77.5-inch reach. He's 12-2-1 in his career. His only 2 losses came by knockout to Vitor Petrino. His nickname is the Trator in Portuguese, and from what I hear, it's just because he was just crushing dudes, crushing kids in jiu-jitsu growing up. Very intimidating presence in the cage, very big for the division, pushes forward, does a really good job of cutting the cage off of his opponents and just gets in their face, makes the octagon very small. Just dangerous everywhere, tons of power on the feet, very good on the ground as well. Very good striker, tons of power, really good jiu-jitsu, hard calf kicks, hard leg kicks, as well as throwing front kicks to the body. Very good in the clinch with elbows and knees. Not the fastest guy with his strikes, but places them very well and has a lot of power, a lot of impact on him. Mixes up his strikes very well to the body and the head, rips to the body with hooks, jabs to the body as well. And like I said, very good grappling. Very good open guard and submission game off of his back, which is just surprising considering how big he is, just the way that he's able to move on the bottom. Looks like he's kind of in the lighter weight classes, honestly, but has the ability to threaten with subs, threaten with sweeps to get back up to his feet. Looks to get on top and land his damaging ground and pound as well, and just a very good ability to kind of swivel his hips and move around for his size. His cardio is also very good for his size. You know, he's not the he's a pretty muscled up dude, very big. You would assume that he's gonna like kind of punch himself out at times, but he showed a really good cardio in his Dana White's Contender Series fight against Murtaza, putting a lot of volume out there, not really gassing, not even really breathing hard by the end of the fight. Was getting rocked in his UFC debut against Ior Potieria. Was able to survive that in the second round and push through for a ground and pound win over Ior when he was just absolutely gassed. And took a beating from Crute in round 1. I believe it was a 10-8 round. Failed to take down, was on bottom taking damage, got dropped again, and was able to recover from that and win the next 2 rounds. So just very impressive cardio from the guy, considering his size and strength in there. His chin is kind of worrisome at times. I've seen him eat shots like it's nothing, but then other times he's getting knocked out. Like I said, been knocked out by Petrino twice. Was getting hurt bad by Ior Potieria, who's just a much faster guy, a little bit crispier on the feet. And got dropped by Jimmy Crute in their first round. So honestly, his chin is probably my biggest concern for this guy's career, considering he is a power puncher. He likes to fight on the feet. He's relatively young, and it already kind of, you already wonder how iffy is his chin. And he's in light heavyweight, fighting a bunch of big dudes with a lot of consequences coming with their strikes. So, but all around very, very well-rounded. I think he's got a bright future in the UFC. Taking on Paul Craig, who is 37 years old, been in the UFC since 2016, getting up there in age. He's 6'3" with a 76-inch reach, so he's going to be the same height and have a 1.5-inch reach disadvantage in this one. And he's 17-9-1 in his career. Moving back up to light heavyweight in this fight, he had a lot of success at light heavyweight. I mean, if you go back through his career, he had to win. Magomed Ankalaev choked him out. Kennedy Nzechukwu choked him out. Mauricio Hua, Jamal Hill, Nikita Krylov has a lot of really high-level wins over some guys, but then again, not very good losses. Been knocked out like 5 times in the UFC. Not the best chin. I don't know. Not the best chin on him. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He will pull guard at times. He's going to look to get the fight to the ground to either work on top, or he's fine with working on bottom, staying safe, and looking for submissions. Has okay striking. I guess it wasn't awful in his last fight against Bo Nickel, but how good is Bo Nickel considering his most recent performance? I guess we don't really know right now. And he's got decent body kicks, but just overall, he's not looking to fight on the feet. He's looking to get it to the ground and work his submission game. His striking is just mediocre at best. Uses it to set up his takedowns or his clinch. Just doesn't move his head well. Not the best defensively. We saw that in his fight with Kyle Braulio. Was just kind of taking shots and just not really didn't have the head movement or just the footwork in general to be a high-level guy in the UFC, honestly. But I'm going to go with Bellato in this one. I just think he'll be too powerful on the feet and out-muscle Craig, just be the bigger dude, more dangerous guy. I think he's going to be better everywhere. I mean, I think he can compete with him on the ground. I think he's definitely better on the feet. His last showing against Jimmy Crute, not the best showing. He had an awful first round. Failed a body lock trip and ended up on bottom for that round. Took a lot of damage and then got dropped, but was still able to come back in the next 2 rounds and win that, or at least salvage a draw. And he took that fight on like 4 weeks' notice. So his cardio still looked good. He's still able to land really good strikes, really good leg kicks on Jimmy Crute. So overall had a good showing of himself outside of that first round, I guess you could say. But in this fight, he's not going to have to be concerned about Craig on the feet. Like, Craig's not going to be throwing with deadly accuracy and crazy power to really hurt him. And he's not going to have that reach that he normally enjoys at middleweight. At middleweight, he's usually the rangy guy, long for the division, can hide behind his jab and his longer strikes. But at 205, he's just another guy who's 6'3", but he's not going to be as powerful. He's not going to be as big as these other guys. And like I said, Bellato, if it does go to the ground, I think he'll be able to stay safe and land a lot of damage and ground and pound. But I think he'll primarily keep it on the feet against Craig, defend the takedowns, batter his legs with calf kicks like we saw him do against Murtaza and Jimmy Crute, and damage him in the clinch. If Paul Craig wants to get takedowns, you know, he can pull him into the clinch, land his elbows, land his knees, like we've seen him do so many times. And I see Craig getting desperate on the feet. I don't think he's going to have any success with his striking. I think he's not going to be able to get takedowns. I think he'll start to panic takedown to avoid the stand-up. He might even pull guard. I see Bellato potentially going into his guard and landing ground and pound, or just making him stand up and continue to batter him. So I see Bellato kind of staying safe, controlling the fight, winning wherever it goes, and I see him getting the KO against Paul Craig in this one. Thanks.